One of the most important things you could have in your home is a working smoke detector. Find out all about the new laws and how to get what you need to stay safe in a fire, or prevent them, on the next Connecting Our Community. Hi, I'm Pat Shoemaker. Welcome to Connecting Our Community. Our guest tonight is Jim Resnick, the Program Manager for Senior Outreach and Education with the Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Service. That's a mouthful. Welcome, Jim.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, sure. And there was a new law that passed for the state of Maryland concerning fire alarms, smoke detectors, all of that. So can we start with that and say
Sure.
what the law was?
And unfortunately, it was very, very confusing to a lot of people. And part of my job doing community outreach and senior outreach is to try to help people make sense of it all. So the law was actually originally passed in 2013, but it was also given a phase-in time until January 1st of 2018. And the idea was that we wanted people to start hearing about it and realizing that when it was time for their smoke alarms to be changed out, they needed to change them out with a specific type of smoke alarm. That worked fairly well, but we also have a lot of folks who have had questions on and around January 1st and since then. So I'm thrilled that we're here to help try to clear that up. So the bottom line is this: we want everyone to have working smoke alarms in their homes. They should have working smoke alarms on every level of their home, and they should at least have one smoke alarm outside of their bedrooms and sleep with their bedroom doors closed. So the closed door is a whole other thing we'll talk about.
Yeah, that's startling to me. Okay.
All right, and we'll get back to that.
Okay.
So the type of smoke alarm seems to cause the most confusion. And the average consumer, if they go to a home goods store or a hardware store or go online, it can be overwhelming what they see. So let's break it down to some basics. The first thing is that a smoke alarm which only has a 9-volt battery as the power source, and if that's all that it has as the power source, you're not supposed to have those anymore.
So how do you know that?
Well, you'll know that for a couple of reasons. And actually, one good example here is if you look at the color of this smoke alarm. Now, not all smoke alarms have a little smiley face on them. But if you look at the color of this smoke alarm, as opposed to some of these other ones, you can see that this is more of an aged smoke alarm. And that's an indication that your smoke alarm might be more than 10 years old. Quite honestly, the second thing is if you can't say for sure, I put in smoke alarms in 2015, it's probably been too long, because time tends to go by kind of quick when it comes to putting things up on your ceiling.
Yeah. Well, I don't mean to interrupt, but
Sure.
There was a time that, I don't remember what company, but it said lifetime warranty, you know, buy this, you'll never have to buy another smoke detector, smoke alarm, whatever. That's not correct?
Well, I haven't seen any that say lifetime warranty. Some of them say 10-year warranty, and a 10-year warranty is not the same as a 10-year battery smoke alarm. And that's what we want people to have in certain cases. So let's talk about specific homes. If someone lives in a home that was built before 1975, and that's kind of the important year when it comes to this in Montgomery County, any home that's built before 1975 can have battery-only smoke alarms. But the battery-only smoke alarms, like this one that I have in my hand, this has batteries in it, but the batteries are sealed inside. You cannot take the batteries out. So the batteries are good for 10 years. The smoke alarm is good for 10 years. In approximately 10 years from when this was first started up, it will then make that low battery chirp sound that we're so used to hearing.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, you can't change the batteries because they're sealed inside. So at that point in time, the whole smoke alarm comes down and a whole new one goes up. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. What happened in 1975 that changed things?
Great question. 1975 was the first year that Montgomery County, through the permitting services and the fire marshal's office, said you have to have hardwired smoke alarms. So in my hand here, I've got an example of a hardwired smoke alarm. So this smoke alarm would be powered by the normal electricity in the person's home.
So if your power goes out, your smoke alarm goes out?
No, because it has a no, because it has a battery backup. Now, the very first generation of hardwired smoke alarms did not include a battery backup. And exactly the situation that you described occurred, unfortunately, more than once, not only in Montgomery County, but throughout the nation. So then they said, aha, we have to have a battery backup. Now, the battery backup can be either a removable battery, so I could have like a 9-volt battery or 2 AA's that will fit in here that I might have to periodically change out, or there's a newer type of smoke alarm which combines the hardwired smoke alarm and that 10-year battery that's in here that's sealed in. So there are smoke alarms that are hardwired with a battery backup that is a sealed 10-year battery. So it goes up, and for 10 years, you really don't have to think about a whole lot of maintenance with these things. We're always supposed to test them periodically to make sure that they work. Same way that when you put on a seatbelt, you just want to hear that click and know that it's holding you safely in place. You want to make sure that your smoke alarms work, so they should be tested periodically.
And how do you test them?
It depends on who you speak to.
We have to call you over.
Some people would say, you know what, I test it if I burn a piece of toast.
Oh.
If you have what I'll describe as nuisance smoke in your home and it makes the smoke alarms go off, you can check off for that month. You have now officially tested your smoke alarms. We don't recommend burning a piece of
you're
toast.
Encouraging.
No, but by accident, sometimes things like that happen. And again, I'm not talking about a fire. I'm just talking about nuisance smoke from cooking or maybe starting up a fireplace or something like that. The other thing you can do is push the button. And I get people who say, I don't want to climb up on a ladder. I certainly don't want to get on a chair or anything unstable like that. You don't have to. Use a yardstick, use a broom. You can stand and just push the button and make sure that your smoke alarm works. Now, let me go back to the 1975 thing. So before 1975, and I'll use my home as an example. My home was built in 1962. I've never had any major renovations, additions, or anything like that done to my house, which would have required me to pull permits. As a result of that, my house is okay with sealed battery-only smoke alarms. I don't have to rush out and get an electrician and wire the whole house and have hardwired smoke alarms put in. But my smoke alarms are what they call single-station smoke alarms. That means that if there's a fire in the basement and the smoke alarm in the basement smells the smoke and starts alerting, that's the only smoke alarm that's going to go off. This one doesn't talk to the other smoke alarms in my home.
Because it's not hardwired?
Bingo. Now, hardwired smoke alarms, there's 3 wires. The black and the white wires are for the electricity, but the red or the orange, sometimes it's a yellow wire, is the communications wire. And this would connect this smoke alarm to all the other ones in the house, assuming that it's wired correctly. And that way, God forbid there's a fire in the basement, all of the smoke alarms go off and it gives you early warning. At the end of the day, that's why we're talking smoke alarms, because they give you early warning and the opportunity to get out safely.
So if I were to go to the store, wherever they sell these, that, and you can tell I know all about it since I don't know what the kind of store is, but if I were to go to a store to buy these, is there a choice, or is it only this, period, that's all you can purchase?
Unfortunately, there's a lot of choices,
Oh.
and that's where the confusion comes in for folks. So before you do anything else, know when your home was built and know what kind of smoke alarms you're supposed to have. If you have the battery-only smoke alarms, then you can replace them with battery-only. If your home has hardwired smoke alarms, you don't want to replace those with battery-only smoke alarms, because what you've actually done is lowered your level of protection. Remember, I mentioned that single station. I don't want someone to have the opportunity to have early warning on all their floors, but then they've taken that early warning away and only put the single stations. So that's where some of the confusion was. How can you tell what kind of smoke alarms you've got? Look up.
Oh.
Look up, all right? If you look up and the little light that's in the smoke alarm stays lit constantly, that is a hardwired smoke alarm. If instead you look up and the light's not on, but you see it blink once every about 50 or 60 seconds, that's an indication it's a battery-only smoke alarm.
Ah.
All right?
And so the battery-only smoke alarm is for houses that were built before 1975?
Correct.
And that's acceptable, and if an inspector came in, that would be acceptable?
Correct.
Okay.
Now,
Oh,
I was going to say, we don't really go around and inspect.
That's what I was going to ask.
Montgomery County is not into any kind of significant enforcement in terms of the smoke alarms, with one exception, and that exception is when you're doing permitted work. Once you're having work done in your home that requires building permits, electrical permits, any kind of permitting, at that point in time, the fire marshal says, as long as you're getting that work done, let's bring your home up to the best standard of smoke alarms. And if you think about it, with the expense that you're undertaking with an addition or whatever kind of work that can be done, at the end of the day, it's truly not a tremendous amount of money to add on the right level of protection.
Yeah, and so if you're getting work done, and I know a lot of people who do this, they don't have to get a permit. It's just whatever is happening, whoever's doing it, you're having your brother-in-law come over and fix a sink or install a new stove or something like that, that doesn't involve permitting. Should you at that point still check the fire alarms, smoke detectors, and all of that as well, just to be safe, or?
I'm a big fan of always checking the smoke alarms wherever you are, at your home, on vacation, in a hotel, where make sure you've got working smoke alarms. They are lifesavers.
Okay, we have lots more to talk about. This is really interesting to me. I hope it is to you as well. Please join us after the break for more Connecting Our Community.
I'm Alejandro Escobedo. Music has always been my life, but that was almost taken away from me by hepatitis C. Thankfully, I received treatment and stopped cancer before it started. Yes, cancer. Most people don't know there's a link between certain viruses and cancer. I didn't know, but I do now, and so should you. That's why I've partnered with the Prevent Cancer Foundation. The 3 most common viruses linked to cancer are human papillomavirus, or HPV, hepatitis B, and hepatitis C. Every year, more than 27,000 men and women are diagnosed with a cancer caused by HPV, and up to 65% of all liver cancers are caused by Hep B or C. These cancers are preventable. Getting screened, vaccinated, and treated isn't scary, but cancer is. For more information, visit thinkaboutthelink.org. Together, we can stop cancer before it starts.
Hi, welcome back to Connecting Our Community. We're speaking with Jim Resnick from the Montgomery County Fire Department about smoke detectors, fire alarms, fires, everything.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about getting work done on your home and checking the smoke detectors, fire alarms, and things like that. And you had another point that you wanted to make.
Yeah, in terms of anyone that's getting some work done on their home, from the fire department perspective, we really want to make sure that people do it the right way, which ultimately means they're doing it safely and they're doing it correctly. Through the county's Department of Permitting Services, that's where the fire marshal actually resides right now. Someone can go onto the Permitting Services website, and there's actually a list shown of different types of work that you're doing on the home and which things require a permit and which things do not require a permit. And anything that requires a permit, we really want people, it's the law, but it's there for a reason, because so many times when we have, I'll describe it as Harry homeowner, or these
Or
days it's
Harriet.
Harriet homeowner.
Thank you.
Who does some work. They might take shortcuts. They might not understand the consequences of not following code. And as a result, when there is a fire, the fire becomes bigger, worse, and so on because of the fact that they didn't follow the code.
So if I were going to put an addition or something, how do I get the fire marshal out there? Does it cost anything, and how long does it take?
For the answers to that, I'm going to ultimately refer you to permitting services and the fire marshal's office. There are some costs involved with getting the proper inspections and filing the paperwork and so on, but I'm not the expert on that.
Okay, then I won't put you on the spot
Gotcha.
about that. So moving to this really cool board that you brought, if you'd like to explain, are these just all?
Yeah, these are just some examples of some of the smoke alarms that we found within the last year or two when we've gone to people's homes and checked their smoke alarms. This is a free service that's provided by Montgomery County Fire and Rescue. We will come out on an appointment basis and we'll check your existing smoke alarms. As needed, we might be able to put in new smoke alarms, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. So as we've gone to these homes, and these are actually some of the better looking smoke alarms that we've seen in people's homes.
Thanks.
It's not uncommon that we go to homes where someone has been living in the home for 40, 50, 60 years, or sometimes even more than that. When smoke alarms were first introduced in the 1970s, people put up the smoke alarms, and very often that's the last time they looked at the ceiling. And we find, as we're going out, smoke alarms that are 40, 50 years old. That's a problem because they're not reliable. Often the batteries are dead, they were never changed or anything like that, which is why they changed the Maryland law to require either the sealed battery smoke alarms or hardwired smoke alarms.
So what's the difference between a smoke alarm and a smoke detector?
Very good question. For our purposes, we'll say it's basically the same thing, but a smoke detector is actually part of a complex system that you might find in an office building like we're in now, in a high-rise apartment building or something like that, where one device detects the smoke and then other devices make the alarm happen. Okay? What you have in your home, something like this, is a combination of both. It's a smoke detector and the alarm is in here too. But the correct terminology that we're supposed to use, and the fire marshal really wants me to use smoke alarm, so I'll keep on using that.
Smoke alarm. And what about a carbon monoxide?
Carbon
Or is
monoxide
that
is a
totally
whole
different?
other
Oh,
thing.
okay.
What I'll ask for is let's keep on talking smoke alarms first, and if we have time towards the end, I'll address the carbon
Okay.
monoxide alarms. So if someone calls 311 or goes to our website, which is www.mcfrs.org/mcsafe. If they go to that website or call 311, they can request that we'll send a firefighter, a trained, qualified firefighter to their home who can evaluate what the person has, and then in some cases we might be able to put up replacement smoke alarms or new smoke alarms. Now, we don't have a very big budget. I cannot put smoke alarms in everyone's home, so there's a few specific restrictions. The first thing is that we really want people to purchase their own smoke alarms, but we can be the expertise, we can be the subject matter experts and the manpower to install these. But the second thing is, we're firefighters, we're not trained, qualified electricians. Therefore, we cannot change out the hardwired smoke alarms. If someone has hardwired smoke alarms, then we'll tell them exactly what they need to get to replace them. We'll tell them they've got to get a qualified electrician and do it the right way. And again, someone's life is depending on this, so we want to make sure it's done correctly. If someone's not sure what kind of smoke alarms they have, they might think they've got hardwired, but they don't. They might think they have battery only, but they don't. Certainly they can get in touch with us. We're happy to come on out. And with that, there's basically two programs that the fire department has. One of them is, it's kind of like a quick hit and run thing. We do those mainly on Saturday afternoons. And again, someone could call 311 or go online and request that on a Saturday afternoon, we could send a crew out to check their smoke alarms and perhaps install new ones that the person had purchased. The second thing we offer is a little bit more comprehensive, a home safety check. It takes somewhere about an hour.
Wow.
We go through the entire home, from the bedrooms to the basement and everywhere in between. And part of that is checking the smoke alarms. And again, if the person has purchased the right kind of smoke alarms for their home, we've got the manpower, we've got the tools, we bring our own ladder, so we could go ahead and perhaps take care of that. And if we can't, we'll write down exactly what they need to have a contractor do.
So many communities have community associations that set up meetings and whatever. Is it a possibility that a community could call and set up a one day, come to our community and check out all the homes on
Absolutely.
that day kind of a thing?
Absolutely. And again, what I would do is tell them, call 311. Put in that request through the 311 system. It will go to us, and then we can work with that community association to try to do something like that.
Because I would think that that would be much more efficient for your team, as well as making sure that the community is represented or covered or
and well
whatever.
Educated.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, you said you don't have a lot of money for this program. Is there a way for people to donate?
Honestly, the best donation was, number one, be to take care of themselves and purchase on their own. We do accept donations. Our program is called Safety in Our Neighborhood, and it is a tax-deductible donation if someone did want to do that. I did want to talk about sleeping with your doors closed.
And I was going to ask, that was my next question, as to placement of these devices, having them in your home, but if they're in the wrong place, that sort of defeats the purpose of it.
Yep.
So it should be where?
The bare minimum is one smoke alarm on each level of the home. If I've got a colonial house, for instance, with a basement and then 2 levels above, I'm going to have at least 3 smoke alarms, 1 for each level, and I need to have at least 1 working smoke alarm outside of each sleeping area. And a sleeping area could be 3 bedrooms. The idea is that each smoke alarm should be no more than 20 feet away from the bedroom doors. And if you think about most homes, when you go upstairs to the upper level where the bedrooms are, all of the doors are within about 20 feet of each other.
So you're not saying 1 smoke alarm or smoke detector for each bedroom. You're saying for the sleeping area.
That's
okay.
correct. Now, that's as a minimum.
Okay.
We love it if people have more than that.
Yeah.
We
But
like
isn't there
them.
an overkill? I mean, if you have 3 bedrooms that are close to each other, or 2 bedrooms that are close to each other, and you have 2 smoke alarms right there, isn't that
That might be a
much?
little excessive.
Yeah.
I'd rather lean that way than
Then,
the other way
yeah.
of not having enough.
Yeah.
Because we see the tragedies that occur in those situations. Newer homes have the requirement that the smoke alarms are not only outside the bedrooms, but also inside of each bedroom too. So if
Wow.
I have a brand new home that's been built anytime since about 2003, I think is when that part of the code came in, then I might have 1 on the basement, 1 on the first floor, and if I have 4 bedrooms on the second floor, I've got 4 smoke alarms, 1 for each bedroom, and 1 outside of the bedrooms too. Building materials have changed. The furnishings in our homes have changed. Fires burn faster and hotter. They're more dangerous, and we don't have as much time. So we need that early warning to get out.
Yeah. And how much do these usually cost? If
So-
you're talking about having 6 or 5 in a house, how much
Can
will
I
that
get you to
be?
hold these for a
Sure.
second? Well, these are some examples of a couple of the common smoke alarms that we have. These are the sealed 10-year battery smoke alarms.
Okay.
And at any kind, you could go online, you could go to a hardware store, someplace like that, and these will cost anywhere from about $15 to maybe $20 or $25 a piece.
Okay.
If we're talking hardwired smoke alarms, those are going to cost a little bit more, but again, it's the proper level of protection for your home. Do I
Yeah.
have time to talk about the doors?
Very quickly, yes.
Very good. We want everyone to sleep every night behind a closed door. We just had a fire in Gaithersburg last night, which could have been tragic, but they kept their bedroom door closed. that gave them the extra time that they could call 911 and they could escape from the fire. You should be able to hear the smoke alarm that's outside your bedroom door.
Or inside your bedroom.
Or perhaps even inside your bedroom too. But the door, the closed door, stops the flow of heated gases, which can overwhelm you in a moment.
Wow. Okay, on that note, I want to, wow, thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Pat, thank you for having
me. It was very informative, a little bit scary, I have to say. But the bottom line is, if you have any questions about fire extinguishers, fire, smoke alarms, anything like that, please contact Montgomery County's fire department. They want you to contact them that way rather than calling 911 in the middle of the night for a fire. You can also go to the Connecting Our Community blog on the mymcmedia.org website. Thank you, Jim. Again, very important topic. Thank you for watching again, and we hope to see you next time for another Connecting Our Community.